Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio is brought to you by AnglersChoice.ca, the Angler's Choice in handmade soft plastics. Also presented to you by Handlebars Musky Lures, Zing the Bling, Frantic Big Game Baits, Keith's Trophy Fishing, Fish NV Guide Service, and Husky Musky Leaders. You're listening to Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio. Hey folks, welcome to another exciting episode of Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio. I have the opportunity to have my friend and pro angler Mike Henderson on the line to tell us about his recent victory at the OBN Contender Tournament. Mike, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad, Ben. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, when I saw that you won, it was like winning the lottery. I had said to my friends, you know, sometimes you just know how to pick him. It's too bad he's not a horse.
Oh, thank you.
So, what was your strategy going into that tournament?
Strategy is pretty much like, just taking as much time as I can. I did a lot of running and gunning, just lots of different areas. I went shallow, tried to find some fish shallow, tried to find some fish deep. A lot of times I wouldn't even fish spots. I just marked them and just head on my way. Basically just give spots enough time. Just mark them running and gunning. So that was pretty much what I did for the most part.
Awesome. So techniques and areas that you were targeting that you knew were holding potential fish.
Yeah, I fished quite a bit in the river, and I was there for 3 days actually, pre-fishing, and spent about a day or so just fishing in the river, just in case. Especially if you're in an event like this, where you have the option of fishing in the river and the lake.
Yeah.
So I spent quite a bit of time just in the river fishing for the one day. I found some good fish, and then the conditions changed, so I realized that I'm going to have a really difficult time in the river, so I spent the next 2 days just out in the lake, just running and gunning, finding spots, and I went to one area that's fairly well known, and that's pretty much where I caught all of the fish there in that spot. So and tactics, it was just basically just tube baits and drop shot, well-known baits for smallmouth guys to use, or tactics for smallmouth guys to use. So
now we're heading in. We're in fall now, and there's definitely a transition. What are bass typically doing right now? Are they're in deeper water, or are they in shallow?
It's odd that you ask that. It's you can find fish shallow and then you can find fish deep. I think for the most part you're probably going to find a lot of big fish, probably about 20 to 30 feet of water. They will also move into 40 feet of water. So if you work between, let's say, 20 and 40, you'll end up finding them. It's like, and it's some days. You can get them on a tube, and then the next day they're not even hitting on a tube. They'll hit the drop shot.
Yeah.
So you really gotta pay attention to that. One day you'll be fishing a tube, and then you'll show up there the next day, and you'll drag a tube for a while, and they're not hitting, and that's basically when you just gotta change up your drop shot. And most often they'll end up hitting. So a lot of fish are moving into deeper waters right now, and they're just feeding like a machine. So
yeah, because they're storing up for winter. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Put the old feed bag on.
No,
so
that's exactly what they're doing.
Was there a point?
Anglers, that's for sure.
Was there a point at all during the tournament, Mike, when you looked at your co-angler? I don't want to get his name wrong, so go ahead. Your partner was Tom Liu. Was there a point during that tournament when you looked at Tom and said, "We got this"?
We knew that we were doing fairly good. were doing okay. I think we had like 20, and then I hit a 5.7 or something like that pound smallmouth. So I knew we were comfortable, and that's the thing. I mean, I had to time things out correctly because I only have a 60 horsepower motor.
So, you were going out against some big guys with 200s, 250s.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's it. I mean, I've been dealing with that all year, and you have to really time things out right. I mean, you hope that you do well, and then so you can get out faster, because it's going to take me twice as long to get back. Whereas these guys can run out to some of these spots in 30, 35 minutes, where it's going to take me well over an hour to get there. So
yeah,
I knew we were doing okay, and basically I just it's a decision that we had to make. It was at that point where it's we got well over 20 pounds, and do you really want to wait around for the extra 10, 15 minutes in hopes that you're going to get another 4 or 5 pounder?
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it's not that it couldn't happen. It was just at that point we just both looked at each other and were like, we're done. Let's go. So that's basically what we did, and we head back. So, and we were lucky enough that the water conditions of that day weren't too bad. So
awesome. Now, yeah, water clarity and all that. What were you up against going into this?
I would say it was I don't know. It was probably a little bit stained, probably between stained and clear. It wasn't bad. Like, visibility was pretty good. I mean, if it chops up in certain areas,
mm-hmm.
If it chops up in certain areas, I mean, you're not going to be able to see anything. That's not that the fish are not there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the tough thing about pre-fishing too. And I mean, you could be fishing in an area where the conditions are fine.
Yeah.
And conditions change, and all of a sudden you're realizing that you spent a lot of pre-fishing time in an area where it could potentially churn up the water and get things really bad.
Mm-hmm. So
I always try to keep that in mind. And yeah, I mean, the water condition was pretty good actually. So.
What kind of the color? Just give a color for the anglers that are listening that are interested in tournament fishing. What are some of the color patterns this time of year that are key to bringing in some fish?
Right. I would say probably green pumpkin. I mean, it's a summertime pattern, but it can also produce for you in the fall. 3/8 tube jig hook.
Yeah.
Weight. You want to keep contact with bottom. And basically, if you're not feeling bottom,
you're not going to feel the fish.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, you want them bouncing off bottom. Actually, the 5-pounder, I almost felt like, to me, it was like I felt like a snag.
Yeah.
And I popped it off a snag. You'll get that a lot too, where you'll hook into something and you pop it off. And then a lot of times, too, you'll actually get a fairly good hit. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know if it's just a reaction bait. Like, your hook gets caught on something, and you pop it off, and it just sees it. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely revolutionized finesse fishing, for sure. I've been that for the last, this season, that's all I've been doing is drop shot. And one bait, one color pattern, because it produced, and I stuck with it, and it's one of those presentations that you don't have to put a lot of effort into the bait.
Yeah, no, that's just it. I also recommend too is, I mean, if you guys there in the audience have a GPS system, a lot of times what I would do is immediately if you're hooking into a good sized fish, I mean, hit mark on your GPS.
Yeah.
Hit mark, because I mean that's going to give you a good reference. I mean, back in the day you'd be able to throw a marker buoy. You can still do that with long drifts.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if you hit your mark on your GPS, because that's what basically we would do, hit mark, and we would just run back up. I mean, it's probably tactics that the audience might be familiar with, but definitely recommend doing that for sure.
Awesome. Now, you have a tournament coming up this weekend.
Yes, sir. I got a tournament on Lake Simcoe this coming Saturday. It's a Hamilton Bassmaster Club event.
Okay. And what mental preparation for even club events, is that do you find that's a key thing going into these?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you I'd recommend it for anybody. I mean, it gives you really skills, and it really does. I mean, it gives you skills. It gives you the ability to prepare for maybe higher level events or whatever that is, money wise. Yeah, I mean, you have to, no matter what club event or whatever it is, I mean, you really have. It's the same format. Yeah, it's the same processes. Talking to your partner and game planning and going over bait presentation and going through all the things that you want to do to catch fish in a tournament. So
yeah. So what kind of things do you do to mentally prepare yourself before an event like the OBN?
I would say probably just your pre-fish definitely helps. I would say talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I actually talked to my sponsor, Ben McWitty. So, I mean, you helped me definitely just get mentally ready, and that's the thing. In this tournament game, I mean, if networking and not only that, but meeting and meeting excellent people that can help you out and put you in the right frame of mind. Sometimes we all need that, just a little bit of a kick in the butt, just to.
Yeah, because you do find you get yourself into a funk, and then you know that in itself is self-prophesying. You get in a funk, and then everything you do, it just all falls apart. So to have somebody in your corner to reassure you, or give you something to think about that maybe you never wrapped your head around before. So, well, I'm glad I'm glad I could be there for you, and your better half, Jen. She's making cupcakes.
Yes. I enjoyed it.
Is that a ritual before you go into an event? She makes a batch of cupcakes for you.
Every so often. That's it. Yeah.
Well,
I'd like to talk really quickly about the contender event. Actually, it's the second year running.
Okay.
We raised $1,000 for the national contender this year. The contender is Mr. Phil Curtis of Muskoka Bassmasters. He's our national contender. There was 7 bags weighed, 20 pounds or more for this tournament, and the big fish weighed in at 6 pounds 2 ounces for this tournament. So it's a great event. It's all a fundraising event for our national contender. So it's all for a good cause, right? So.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Mike. And once again, congratulations on winning the OBN qualifier. And good luck this weekend. You're fishing Simcoe, you said?
Yeah, fishing Simcoe this Saturday.
All right.
If I could just take a quick moment just to thank my sponsors.
Yes, absolutely.
Ben McWitty Outdoors. I'd like to thank Ben McWitty Outdoors, Power Team Lures, Rod Wrap, Caledonia Bait and Tackle, Moto Gate, Steel MX, Mail in Motion, Barton Radiator Works.
All right. Folks, you can find Mike Henderson on Twitter at FishHawk. I believe that's correct. I got that right. Okay. FishHawk6 on Twitter. So, and if you're new to the bass fishing or the just getting into fishing, Mike's a great source of inspiration and information. So hit him up on Facebook or Twitter. You'll be doing yourself a favor. All right, Mike, we'll talk to you again.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ben. Thank you.
Hey, folks, if you like what you hear on Ben McWinnie Outdoor Radio, be sure to drop us a line at benmcwinnieoutdoors@yahoo.com.
We are Rob and Rob, and you're on the water with the Assassins. When is it time to pack up your gear and move on? The fish will tell you, but never forget where you came from and what you've learned while being there.
Take this time of year for instance. We will arrive at our first location, applying Plan A, focusing our tactics on ledges and deep pools with an aggressive presentation based on past experience. However, no success, small fish, the odd follower but no takers, can show you that the fish are not where you expect them to be, so move on. What you have learned from this first experience will alter your tactics for the next.
Being on the move means you have to leave fish behind because either they're too spooked or aggravated with the fishing pressure. Keep these spots in mind, allow them to settle, but adapt your techniques for the next. Start shallower, slow things down a little. These subtle changes will again show you what the fish want. If you only have a bit more success, again move on. As the day continues, your on-the-move experience will allow you to dial those fish in.
Don't be afraid to retrace your steps once you have cracked the code. When you find fish, stay on them until the bite stops. As they say, don't leave fish to find fish. But take these clues to put it all together and finish strong. Staying on the move is necessary to make Plan B a success. It is hard to predict fish sometimes, so learning from your misfortune, getting on the move and adapting to a new situation will ultimately make you a better angler.
Until next time on the water with the Assassins, right here on Ben McWhinney Outdoors, Tight Lines.
Mobility Voice Messaging Center
Mike.
is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished your recording, you may hang up.
Trying to get
or
a hold of
press
Mike
pound
here.
For more options. To leave a callback number that
I guess
you
we'll
can
have to leave a
reach at,
message.
press 1.
Either supper time or, I don't know, it's 7 o'clock. Maybe there's a game on. Who knows? Anyways, here's a quick tidbit for you. Approximately 150 COs for Ontario. What is up with that? 150 COs? Hello? Have you looked around, Minister? Do you know how much land and water there is in this neck of the woods called Ontario? And you have 150 COs? And then you piggyback the responsibility on the backs of the OPP? Come on. Let's get it done. Let's do it right. Hire the boys that are coming out of Lindsay. Get more COs out there. We need it. You know we need it. Or just tell the truth and say you don't care about the environment, you don't care about the natural resource, the fisheries, the seasonal harvest for large game. Just, you know. And the other thing is, where's this money go? I haven't seen a change in 20 years since I started fishing. Since I had to buy my first license. I've seen no stocking program. In fact, this is how bad it is. I've been stopped by a CO once in over 20 years. One time. That's got to tell you something out there, folks. Ben McWhinney Outdoor Radio is brought to you by AnglersChoice.ca, the Angler's Choice in handmade soft plastics. Also presented to you by Handlebars Musky Lures, Zing the Bling, Frantic Big Game Baits, Keith's Trophy Fishing, Fish NV Guide Service, and Husky Musky Leaders. You're listening to Ben McWhinney Outdoor Radio. This is going to be impossible, I think. All right, folks, we're sticking with the topic of moving, and we all know that in the fall is prime muskie season, especially if you're targeting large muskie. My next guest on the line is Mike Parker from Handlebars Musky Lures. Mike, welcome back.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Not a problem. You know, Mike, at this time of year, what are muskie typically doing? Are they like feeding? Is
kind of acting like any wild animal, like the bears, where they're feeding to get ready for the winter to hibernate. Muskie kind of do the same dang thing. They right now they're looking to get the feed bag on. They really want to fatten up, so that way there, when the lake's all ice over and the river's ice over, they go lethargic and they don't have to chase down a lot of food over the winter. They can just kind of take their ease along through the winter and have that big fat belly to live off of all winter long.
That's funny. Yeah. Just trying to update stuff at the same time here, Twitter feed and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, it's multitasking.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game right about now this time of year.
Well, yeah, especially for muskie fishing.
Yep, everybody's really excited for this time of the year. A lot of guys miss out on the prime summertime and early fall, but everybody kind of waits till this time of year to get going. They forget that there's a lot of big fish to be caught early in the year, but they all want to wait for those fall fatties when the length doesn't get any bigger, but the girth definitely grows a lot.
Awesome. So, knowing the kind of contours Lake St. Clair has to offer, what are the key areas muskies are more apt to inhabit during this fall transition?
Like summertime, where they're relating to the weed beds or to some humps. Right now, they're all done from those areas. They're usually just following the bait fish right now. So they'll be moving out of the deeper holes up into the back bays, and that's where the bait fish will be going, getting ready to spawn over the wintertime.
Ah, I see. For the spring, for the spring mating season.
Yep, the muskie they mate in the spring, but the different fish, kind of like the salmon, they spawn in the fall.
Yeah.
And a lot of the bait fish, they do the same thing. So right now, the muskie, they're anywhere you can find them. For Lake St. Clair, you can find them in 4 feet of water, out to about 10 feet right now. Look at the back bays that might have little feeder creeks into them.
Yeah.
Or any deeper creeks or rivers. As long as you can see bait fish, then you'll definitely find muskie close by.
Perfect. And kind of bait fish that you're looking at on St. Clair is what?
Lake St. Clair, right now they're following the shad.
Yeah.
With the shad, what happens, you got the sheephead, they're following them too. The catfish are following them. Muskie love eating those 2 fish, but it's kind of neat right now in Lake St. Clair because where you find the muskie is right where the shad are, but you've also got huge schools of smallmouth bass. A lot of times you have pickerel right there too, and it's quite amazing. They're all following the same bait fish, and you can follow the food chain right down to where you find the muskie sitting there just waiting to take its pick of anything they want to eat.
So, I don't know, true or false? Are bigger muskie more prevalent at this time of year?
For length, they're the same length as they were all season long. But for girth, yes, you'll definitely notice the fish. If you could tag a fish that you caught, let's say, the beginning of August, and if you could tag that fish and take the girth of it then, and then catch it again in November, it'll definitely have inches on its girth. They really, really do fatten up a lot this time of year, and that's what people get really excited for, is just catch that muskie with a great big belly on it.
So, now, we're always throwing big baits, but when you're hunting down the big fall muskies, what are you usually throwing around?
Well, for Lake St. Clair, a lot of the summertime the guys use a 6-inch bait, so for what you would know and I would know, we use a lot of 10-inch baits all year round for casting, but the trolling guys, they've all moved up into like 9-inch, like Woodies and Lowrance lures. They're using the 9-inch. Usually straight baits work best, or like 10-inch jakes or believers, or like we've just released this year, the handlebars double 12. We call it the Mammoth.
Yeah, and it is a mammoth. Oh my goodness!
It's a beast, but it's meant to be along the same lines as these other big lures. It's just a huge profile if you can use really, really slow, which gets to be key at this time of year. Like right now is not so bad. The temps are still up in the 60s, but once the temps get down into the low 50s and then through the 40s, you really got to slow down. Like if you're trolling, you really got to go to big baits with a little bit of action to them and just go real slow. Like you can be down as slow as 1.8 mile an hour into late fall into December.
Wow. So
if we're talking about casting,
yeah,
we'll still use like our double tens.
yeah,
We'll still use those, but again, you got to snap them to get them going, get the blades moving,
yeah.
and just slow down. The mammoth, they're just amazing for that. Once you get the blade spinning, you can slow that thing right down, and that's actually the best way to use it so you don't throw out your shoulder all day.
Yeah.
But for other baits that I love, come the fall, you got like water wolf lures.
Mm-hmm.
They're 11-inch weighted gator tubes, or the shadzillas.
Yeah.
Those are a prime bait, and one of my top baits that I use in the fall would be like double dogs, the big bulldogs and that.
Mm-hmm.
They're another bait that you can work really slow, and that way there, when those fish are barely moving, you can just slowly raise that bait up and let it start to slowly sink down. And a lot of times it's kind of like jigging for pickerel. You just wait to feel that bump and then set that hook. And anybody who hasn't caught a muskie jigging or jigging a tube back on the cast wouldn't understand it until they do get one. But muskie can just pick up those baits really, really light, and it's almost feeling like a walleye bite until you set the hook.
Yeah. Exactly. So, moving forward, I'm going to be down there on the 20th. So hopefully we'll be able to meet up and we can go out to some of those prime locations and get ourselves a piggy of a muskie.
Well, I don't know if we'll take you to a prime location, but we don't want to start you off with nothing too big right away. We'll take you out to the nursery area.
Okay, get me a junior.
Yeah,
all right.
By the 20th, they should the lake should be calmed down from that big blow we had. And
Yeah.
things should be working real good again, and by then, Bell River and Detroit River should be going really good. The muskie will be staged up in there, and yeah, it'll be muskie for the pickings by then.
Awesome. Folks, Mike Parker, Handlebars Muskie Lures, and you can find him on Facebook and Twitter, and at fine tackle stores throughout Ontario and Canada and even into the States. Mike, you want to rhyme off a couple of your dealers?
Yeah, we have one of our best guys that we've had from the beginning has been Bass Haven right out here in Mitchell's Bay. He's been an awesome supporter of mine from the get-go, and along with Ed's Baits out in Wallaceburg. And if you're heading down towards the Niagara River, we just picked up Peter's Tackle out there in St. Catharines. We have Bill's Baits and Fishing World both in Hamilton. And then we also have Angling Outfitters and Angling Sport in London and Woodstock. And then we are still expanding North Bay Outfitters up in North Bay. They still have a nice selection of them up there. So anywhere you are in Ontario now, you can pick them up. And if you have a local store that you want them to carry them, just pass my information along, and we'll definitely get in touch with them.
Awesome. Mike, it's always a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you for having me on, Ben, and it's always a pleasure for sure.
All right. Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio is brought to you by AnglersChoice.ca, the Angler's Choice in handmade soft plastics. Also presented to you by Handlebars Muskie Lures, Zing the Bling, Frantic Big Game Baits, Keith's Trophy Fishing, Fish NV Guide Service, and Husky Muskie Leaders. You're listening to Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio. The Reno Viola Outdoor Network, proud sponsor of the Ben McQuinney Outdoor Radio Show. Check it out at WRVOradio.com.
The fish will tell you, but never forget where you came from and what you've learned while being there.
Take this time of year, for instance. We would arrive at our first fishing location, Plain Plan A. focusing our tactics on ledges and deep pools with aggressive presentation based off past.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
I don't think it helps that we keep drinking more beer. Oh, this is on it.